Welcome to Missouri Sports Talk. I'm your host, Cameron Staley, and today I'm here with
Easton Amelia.
Easton, back again. Let's just jump straight to it. Let's go ahead and put up the AFC scoreboard on the screen right now. First games first, opener of the season, Chiefs versus Ravens. Who do you have in this one?
I have the Chiefs going to win this one. Last year they did lose the opening day versus the Lions, but I feel like this year they'll recover and find a way to win week one after winning back-to-back Super Bowls.
I'm going to take the Chiefs as well. I will take them by 12 points.
I have them by 7, a touchdown margin.
Okay. Our second game that we'll talk about for the AFC side, Colts versus Texans. I'm going to take the Texans by 23 in this one. I'm just not a fan of the Colts this year. I'm not a fan of Anthony Richardson. Don't think that he's really that great of a quarterback. I think he's just like a raw talent that has a big arm and can run, so then people are clamoring over him. He's not really that great of a quarterback. I'll say that right now. And obviously, I can't go out there and do what he does. You know, there's probably going to be somebody that wants to go comment that, like, you can't do what he's doing. But, like, you know, NFL-wise, Anthony Richardson's probably going to be a bottom 20 quarterback. Or, sorry, I should say bottom 10. You know, I was trying to say outside of the top 20 this year. So, I am going to take the Texans by 23. I think they're a pretty legit team this year.
I would take the Texans by 3. I don't think they're going to be that far away from teams, especially with the preparation you have for week one. This is in everybody's minds, week one, best strategy, best everything. They're going to bring out new offense, new defensive strategy, so there's no way that I feel like a team's going to get blown out by that much.
Bills versus Cardinals. You know, if we want to transition to teams getting blown out, the Cardinals, I'm not a fan of them this year either. I'm going to take the Bills by 19.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. I would take a touchdown lead in favor of the Cardinals. I feel like Kyler Murray's got off that Call of Duty. Marvin Harrison's going to come out and shock the world.
All right. Bengals versus Patriots. Another blowout that I have here.
Okay, I see this one.
I'm going to take Bengals by 21 in this one.
Okay, I'll take Bengals by 17 here, especially with Jamar Chase not 100% if he will actually play. There's speculations he might not, but I feel like he will find a way to play.
Dolphins versus Jaguars. This one's an interesting one. This is just about as even as it gets in our AFC side of the things this week. You know, I'm going to take the Dolphins by 8 points in this one. I think it's going to be a really interesting game.
All right, finally a close game that I can agree with. Dolphins, I have them winning by 3 as well. I feel like this is going to be a little bit a higher scoring game. I feel like Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to control the offense, and they're going to be able to explode, but I don't think they're going to be able to match the Dolphins' offense.
Okay, so our AFC game of the week, I know I left out the Chiefs and Ravens, but I am going to go with the Browns and Cowboys because I think this one's going to be closer than the Chiefs and Ravens game. You know, the Browns have a really great defense. It kept them in the season last year until Joe Flacco came around, you know. So it was like P.J. Walker and Dorian Thompson-Robinson for a little while, and they were really playing terrible. And then the Browns brought in Flacco and turned it around. They made it to the divisional. But I think Deshaun Watson is worse than Joe Flacco. Honestly, I think that Joe Flacco is a better player for that team, but he ends up leaving for the Colts to take the backup job, which honestly, you know, I see Anthony Richardson, the way he runs, getting hurt again. So in all honesty, I believe Joe Flacco is going to get some time with the Colts this year. But, you know, back to the Browns, you know, I'm not a fan of Deshaun Watson. I liked him in Houston. He was a great player, and then he did some personal stuff that was accusations. Don't know if it really happened or not, but, you know, he took a year off of football, and then he was suspended for, 8 games?
Something like that, yeah.
And he just wasn't the same. When he came back that year, he sucked last year. Started off really terrible, and then he got injured out for the season. And I've seen a lot of training camp stuff, and it looks like he can't hit the broadside of a barn. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys by 4 points in this one.
I'll take the Cowboys by 14 in this one. I feel like that defense, especially with Deshaun Watson's struggles last year, he really didn't help me in fantasy last year. He was one of my sleeper quarterback picks because he was falling, but he did not perform whatsoever, and I don't think he'll be able to do what he did back when he was a Houston Texan. And the Cowboys, I feel like, are going to have a great regular season as well as they always do. Dak Prescott, a lot of people are saying, like, this is make or break year with him not having playoff success. I feel like he'll find a way to dominate this season, and week one is where he'll start it off.
Let's go ahead and get to the NFC scoreboard. Our first game that we need to talk about is the Eagles versus Packers Friday night. This one's in Brazil. That's an interesting thing. So I've heard some things that, like, they're saying that you probably shouldn't wear green in Brazil because it's very gang tied. I don't know if that was just nasty rumors or what, but I'm definitely not going to Brazil and wearing green for this one. But I'm going to take the Eagles by 2.
This is going to be a really good game. I feel like both these teams have good offenses. I mean, you did lose Jason Kelsey on the line, but the Eagles find a way to add some key pieces on defense. I feel like the Eagles are going to find a way to pull us out by, I would say, 3. A field goal is going to win this one. Last second, maybe.
Seahawks versus Broncos in Seattle. This is an interesting one. I don't think either team is that good this year. I think I took them last week. I'm pretty sure I said both of them were going to be 6-11 this year. So, I'm just not really thinking that either team's going to be very good this year. I'm going to take Seahawks by 13 in this one. I think that, Bo Nix is going to struggle out of the gate in this first ever game and then pick it up near the end. But I think by that point, the Seahawks are just going to run away with it.
I feel like Bo Nix' era starts with the win for the Denver Broncos in Seattle. Last year they did lose in Seattle with Russell Wilson at quarterback 2 years ago. Is that what it was?
2 years ago.
But I feel like they'll find a way to win this one. Give me them by 7. I think Bo Nix is able to control this offense. They have pieces to win. Now, I don't know if they'll be able to beat those top teams, but I feel like they can beat the Seahawks. I had them going 9-8, and the Broncos going 6-11. But a big win for Bo Nix, hopefully.
Buccaneers against Commanders, in Tampa Bay. I just don't know about the Commanders this year. That's a really big question mark. Last year, pretty terrible team. They bring in Dan Quinn, who wasn't good as a head coach in Atlanta, but now he's in Washington. They drafted quarterback Jaden Daniels. That was easily my favorite college quarterback since, I want to say 2020. I was following him when he was at Arizona State. Now he's in the NFL. I don't think that he's going to go off to a great start. I think the Buccaneers are just too good for them. I'm going to take the Buccaneers by 22. It'll blow out.
That is a start for Jane Daniels. I mean, he had a great college career. Now, the situation he came into is not the best, and the Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans combination last year was incredible. I feel like that's going to continue this year. Give me the Buccaneers by 17 in week 1.
Falcons versus Steelers. This is an interesting one. The Steelers have some turnover in the quarterback room. They signed Russell Wilson after he was cut by the Broncos, and then they traded for Justin Fields. This one was like a QB battle in the preseason. I think, in all honesty, though, we kind of knew what was coming with Russ being named the starter, but we were all kind of holding out hope that Justin Fields would end up getting that job. But Russ is going to start out being the guy this year. He's going to suck. He's going to get benched. He fell off in his very last year with the Seahawks, and then when he got traded to the Broncos, I thought, I was thinking this is comeback time for Russ. I thought that he was actually going to play really good in Denver, but he played so bad. And, I think his career is just done. I don't think that he's going to make it out of this season as a starter. I don't know if he'll retire after this year, but, the way his attitude is, if he's not a starter, I could see him just hanging up the cleats this year because he's not going to be leading a team. He doesn't have low enough of an ego to be sitting on the bench. I think that he'd end up being a diva if he gets benched for Justin Fields. The Falcons, this is an interesting one. You want to talk about the Falcons a little bit?
They made a lot of improvements. I feel like their offense is going to be good, but adding their defense is going to be crazy. Adding Justin Simmons, I've seen him play for the Broncos. I call him Patrick Mahomes' father because he's able to find a way to pick him off a lot. But I feel like this defense is going to be their success, and I feel like with Russell Wilson having to play against that defense, it's going to be really hard.
And the biggest thing for the Falcons this offseason was bringing in Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Kirk Cousins was a quarterback I really liked last year, just depending on how he'll recover from his injury. I don't know how that will be. But if he's able to be back to where he was with the Vikings when they were really good last year, I don't know where – no, 2 years ago, sorry. I don't know where they could go. I feel like they're a sneaky team that can do a lot of dangerous things.
Off an Achilles injury, give me Kirk and the Falcons by 9 points in this one.
I would agree with that. It's going to be I feel like it's going to be a close one. I feel like Russell Wilson had glimpses last year of success. He would go in phases of looking like a top 10 quarterback and then phases looking like he should be a backup. But I feel like this is going to be a defense way too big for Russ to handle. Give me the Falcons by 7. While he's on his phone, this won't make the video. Please like and subscribe as we are on our road to 1,000 subscribers on Missouri Sports Talk. He's the man. Subscribe.
Actually, I will put this one in.
Okay.
We actually have gotten to, I want to say it's like 8. Oh, man, I'm breaking my stuff over here. Oh, Face ID. Okay, here we go. We're sitting at like 850 on TikTok now. I was sitting at 450 before that Tipton game. We actually are at 895 on TikTok now. So go over to TikTok, show some love. Get us up to 1,000 by the end of this week. That would be greatly appreciated. But let's just get back right to it. 49ers versus Jets. This is our next one that we're going to talk about. This is an interesting one. Lots of holdouts for the 49ers this offseason. Drama in San Francisco. Ricky Pearsall was just a victim of an attempted robbery, got shot in the chest. On the good side, though, of the chest, I guess you could say, if you're getting shot, because it didn't hit any vital organs. He's already back in the weight room, is what I saw. already doing his physical therapy, getting back to it. He was placed on the non-football injury list, which is 4 weeks minimum. So he can only return week 5 at the earliest. But big shout outs to him for the recovery. Good to see him live, honestly, because that could have been a lot worse than it did go. But, the 49ers, I just think that they're a step ahead of the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is returning from an Achilles injury as well as Kirk Cousins. So 2 quarterbacks returning from an Achilles injury. But I just don't really think that the Jets have it this year. It's just something about them. Last year they were just not good, and obviously they're lacking a quarterback. But I don't know. I'm not very confident about the Jets this year. I do think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to go like 10-7. But really, I think the 49ers are the 3rd best team in the NFL, and the Jets can't come close to that. But I will pick a close game. I'll take 49ers by 6.
I feel like it's going to be a really close game as well. I mean, any other situation, game 1 for Aaron Rodgers to be back, I would assume they would win just because all the hype they would have for him. But this is a tough task to really come over because when you have the 49ers on your schedule week 1, they're going to be really excited to play, especially after a close finish they had last year, almost winning the Super Bowl. I feel like they're going to be hungry this year and wanting it more than ever. So I feel like it's going to be a 2-score game, 49ers by 14.
Okay, so our last game of today, obviously, next videos will be longer because we don't have scores from last week, so we can't talk about last week's game right now. This one's just purely week 1 predictions, so, all of my week 1 videos were short, so it is what it is there. But the Lions versus the Rams, the last one we're going to talk about today, this is kind of turning into a rivalry at the moment because Matt Stafford is with the Rams. So, I don't know. Once Matt Stafford's gone, obviously the Lions and Rams aren't going to have that kind of feel that they're having this past 2 years. But, both teams are really good. We both took the Lions to win the Super Bowl, so maybe our pick is obvious here. Amon-Ra is back and healthy. Penei Sewell, both of them got paid this year. They got paydays over the summer. I want to say, isn't Sewell, is he the top paid offensive tackle right now?
I think it was him. He might have just hopped Trent Williams.
Yeah.
I think so.
So, both amazing players. Jared Goff is at quarterback. Now, that's kind of the question mark, I'd say. I think Jared Goff plays really good in the Lions system, but, I don't know. There's so many different quarterbacks that are better than Jared Goff. But
I just feel like he finds a way to have success under Dan Campbell's system. I feel like them two mesh perfectly together. They both have same ideas for their offense. I feel like if you need to go for it, Dan Campbell trusts Jared Goff more than anyone in the world, and I feel like this is why I predicted them to win the Super Bowl. I feel like that system they have there in Detroit with Amon-Ra, Jared Goff, Sam Laporta, Jamison Williams, that offense is very hard to stop. Aiden Hutchinson on defense. This is I feel like one of the best teams in the league, and they're going to be in February.
So the Rams, their defense changes a little bit. They lose Aaron Donald to retirement. That's the biggest thing. That's the most obvious thing here. But they end up drafting the Florida State duo Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. I think those two combined this year will be, Aaron Donald's production by himself. So, that's a big compliment to Aaron Donald, not just Fisk and Verse, honestly, because Aaron Donald is absolutely insane. But I think that the Rams will come out with a loss. I think that they lose to the Lions by 10 points. But I have the Rams going maybe like the 6th seed at 11-6. I think that's a good spot for the Rams in the predictions this year.
I think it's going to be very close with the additions in the interior line. I feel like when you have two guys, it's harder to stop than one. I mean, Aaron Donald was hard to stop double team alone, but when you have two guys, you're going to have to focus on. It's going to be hard for your O-line to stop them, but I still do have the Lions winning. I think it's going to be a lot closer game. I feel like it's going to be a 3-score game, maybe possibly the first overtime game of the year. I'm really excited to see this one.
So that's all we've got for this one.
Actually, we have a bonus game. I'd like to predict Vikings-Giants. I stuck with the Giants going 0-17. I feel like I have to say it every week until they win, which might be week 1, but I'm going to give me the Vikings. Sam Darnold, please help me. I hope this decision stays to be correct for 17 games.
Vikings by 1 million. This has been Missouri Sports Talk. We'll see you next time.